Nick Cruse is an organizer with the Revolutionary Blackout Network, which is a Black working-class network of activists and citizen journalists focusing on empowering communities through education, organizing, and direct action. And he's here all the way from Kansas City, so give him a warm welcome.
What's poppin'? What's poppin', my friends, my family? It's great to be here. First, show me, raise a hand. How many people protested on the streets for a free Palestine and against the genocide that Israel was carrying out against the Palestinian people? Well, I have bad news for you guys. According to Adam Smith, all you guys are fascists. My name is Nick Cruse. I'm the founder of Revolutionary Blackout, and I strongly endorse Kshama Sawant for Congress because I strongly believe that we need to form an anti-Zionist, pro-working class movement to challenge the genocidal Democratic Party. You will never root out Zionism from the Democratic Party. And I will be spending the rest of my life holding these people accountable. I will be spending the rest of my life holding Adam Smith accountable. I will be holding genocide Joe Biden accountable. I will be holding Kamala Harris accountable. And I will be holding our current president, Donald Trump, accountable. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm way beyond just free Palestine. I am for justice for Palestine. You guys realize law and order relies on resolution and justice. You can't commit a genocide, killing nearly 1 million Palestinians, call for a ceasefire, wipe your hands and say you're done here. No, sir, we are not done here. Just a reminder, there's no statute of limitations for genocide, ladies and gentlemen. I am not a liberal Zionist. The difference between me and a liberal Zionist, you can get a liberal Zionist to agree with you on some things. They can say that Israel is carrying out war crimes. The Netanyahu government is responsible for war crimes. But ask them what the consequence of that should be, and you will watch them turn to Ben Gvir in real time. I believe we should have a global intifada against our Zionist criminal ruling class. You guys realize that our ruling class is so gangster that the International Court of Justice found their boy, Benjamin Netanyahu, guilty of committing genocide, and their response was to sanction the international courts. That's some gangster shit. Now it's upon us to be the enemies from within, to engage in global intifada against our genocidal ruling class, because I believe the Palestinian resistance deserves a break. They've done their part. I think they deserve a nice rest. I think it's our turn to fight against our Zionist-controlled ruling class. We need a global intifada because we're all victims of Zio-fascism. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty much unhireable. If RBN doesn't work, man, I'm gonna be selling. I'm gonna be twerking on the streets. I'm just screwed. I'm not the only one. I'm not the victim here. I know countless friends and family who've been fired from their jobs. Why? Because they didn't want their taxpayer money going towards a genocide. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all victims of Zio-fascism. That's why we need a global intifada against our ruling class and unite right now to form an anti-Zionist working class movement outside of the two-party system. And don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the Bernie Sanders style, the DSA style, the old gray-haired leftists who spent their entire life trying to shift the Democratic Party to the left. And after spending decades, a lot of these people trying to run and organize within the Democratic Party, what did they get? Did they get Medicare for all? Did we get an increased minimum wage? Did we get paid maternity leave? You know what we got? We got a genocide. It's unscientific. We got them exactly where we want them, my friends. Because we look at the voters who didn't support Kamala Harris, who voted for Joe Biden. You know, a large amount of them refused to vote for Kamala Harris because she was supportive of a genocide. When have we ever seen the American people making voting decisions based on foreign policy? That is how much the American people are done with the Zionist presence in our country. It's wild to see, because if you look at even the evangelical community, when you look at MAGA, when you look at many of them, even they are growing fatigued with the Zionist regime and they're occupying our politics. Many of them realize they voted for a man who is not putting America first. They're realizing they're voting for a man who made his number one priority protecting pedophiles. They realize that they are supporting a man who is doing nothing to actually help the working class in this country. What has Donald Trump built? What has Donald Trump done for the working class? You want to know what Donald Trump is currently doing? He is giving $1 billion, $20 billion bailout to Javier Milei, the libertarian tech bro. Isn't that interesting? The libertarian capitalists, they always give a bailout, but they don't give a bailout for the American working class. Yeah. So we have members of MAGA who are starting to realize this. They're realizing that the Epstein files are not coming. They're realizing their boys put America last, and we have this unique opportunity ahead of us. As liberals was freaking out after Donald Trump won, oh my God, the end of our democracy. We said, let's get to work. Because we understand that this pendulum will always swing between the left and the right, Democrat and Republican. They exist to disappoint the American people. So as the pendulum swings to the left and the right, we don't engage in nihilism like you see from many Democrats and many liberals who believe that the sky was falling and our democracy was ending. What we was doing, what our plan is, as Donald Trump inevitably disappointed the American people, we will be there to grab them and lead them towards revolution. So we're not going to engage in nihilism. It's time for us to get to work. And we got one hell of a fighter to get to work for. We got Kshama Sawant. Who have delivered victories for the working class. This is what she's born to do. She's here to challenge genocidal Adam Smith. And not all of us can be in a position where we can run and challenge for office. We all need to find the role that we have, that we can put forth for this movement. I'm a Kansas City shit talker, and somehow I've been put in this position where I can educate people. That's the role I have. If you are good at making and baking pies, if you're good at sewing shirts, that's exactly what we need you to do in the movement. We need everyone to get activated. We need a third-party movement that is built on mutual aid, organizing, and community. We must reject liberal cancel culture and talk to our neighbors and ask them what we can do for them. You guys know the billionaire class? They increased their wealth to $52 trillion this year. They we should do more than that. You guys know that the billionaire class, they gained $2 trillion just last year alone. The reason why they make these gains is that they're not distracted by irrelevant culture wars or other two-party distractions. They're engaged in nonstop class war. And it's time for the working class to get their head in the game and do the same. And that's why we should support Kshama Sawant. Thank you, God.